National College Football Roundup. Number 12, Oklahoma State. Yeah. They didn't play last week, but people may have forgot. They're number 12 in the country.
Undefeated.
Oklahoma State at number 25, Texas. Texas a 5. Some places 5.5-point favorite. This game is so interesting to me, man. I mean, Texas coming off a physically taxing and emotionally devastating loss where they blew a 28-7 lead to their arch rival. Oklahoma State had a bye week. They were getting fresh. They were getting their legs back under them. And I'm sure they are feeling rejuvenated. And they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this Texas team. Now, just from what we saw in Dallas, Texas' offense, they have found a rhythm, right? Bijan is legit. I mean, he's going to rip off long runs. I mean, there's just no stopping it. Xavier Worthy, he clearly can take the top off of a defense. And even though he got hit a ton, like Casey Thompson he's playing some good ball, man.
Almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, no picks. That typically wins a game easily.
Typically. So sorry. How unfortunate that they didn't get it done. But after what we saw Kennedy Brooks and OU do against Texas's defense, I can't imagine, Ted, that OSU is going to change their formula that's been working for them. And that formula is run the rock with Jaylen Warren, limit the number of times Spencer Sanders has to throw the ball, and play great defense. I think this is going to be a great game. I don't trust Spencer Sanders at all, but maybe Tay Martin bails him out and goes up and grabs one, high points it, and prevents him from throwing an interception to Texas. But I have trusted Oklahoma State's defense up to this point. Couple weeks to prepare, getting a little healthier. I don't think I can bail on him now, Ted, especially being a road dog, which they're the higher ranked team. They're probably going to feel a little disrespected as well. And I picked Oklahoma State to finish ahead of Texas before the season in the Big 12. So I've got Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning the same way. The running game, Texas, they just have a hard time, man. Defensively, they don't tackle well. I mean, Overshown plays his tail off. He's a really good player. But outside of that, they don't tackle very well. And if you're not going to tackle well, then you're going to give up a bunch of yards in the running game to Oklahoma State. I think it's close. I think it's much lower scoring than our game with them was. And and I know this is a huge ask, but as long as Spencer Sanders can't have really bad turnovers for them, if they can limit that, I think they probably win the game. Let me ask you something. It's an 11 o'clock kick. Will let's say Oklahoma State goes down there and handles business and looks good doing so, and Texas can't stop them running the football. Is there any outcome in this game that can change your opinion of what you think of OU, or maybe even if Texas goes and looks great and just maybe stomps Oklahoma State? Will you be looking at this game to maybe bolster your opinion one way or the other on Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think it's only natural, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw them. I was just down on the field, right next to those kids from Texas. Like,
still feels like that game was yesterday, doesn't it?
Well, it lasted like 10 hours, right? I mean, it was the most emotionally draining game I've ever been a part of.
The game was a weekend. It was the whole weekend.
It was ridiculous. It took like 2 days to recover from it. And I wasn't even drunk. Like, I was just there talking on the radio. Like, what? But I will, and I think so. Mike Gundy, and he said this publicly, they played good defense. He knows this is a different kind of test than anything they've seen up to this point, right? He basically has said, hey, we're going to find out what we're made of defensively against Texas. If OSU goes out there and holds Texas to like 14 or 17, I'm going to be looking at the Oklahoma defense going, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, right? I think Texas is going to score some points. I mean, they got a lot of talent, but it wouldn't shock me if OSU held them under, 21. I wouldn't be stunned, but if that happens, I will be like, I thought remember when this Oklahoma defense was supposed to be the strength of the football team?
Texas offense didn't look great against TCU. I mean, Bijan ran it well, but
And TCU gift wrapped them a couple of scores in that game with special teams mistakes.
Yep. And terrible turnovers.
Terrible turnovers. So, I mean, that's why I'm so interested in that game. Because not only I think we're going to learn about Texas, we're going to learn a lot about Oklahoma State, but I think you're right. I think there's going to be something to take away from that game for OU. And I guess we'll find out if it's positive or negative.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be kind of a gut punch to my confidence if Texas goes out and does not look good against Oklahoma State. And I got to imagine that everyone else probably feel the same way.
Yeah. But everyone will say, no. Texas plays OU better. You know that. We
True.
get Texas' best shot. That's true. But it would be nice if Texas went out there and scored some points.
Right.
They just put up 48 on OU. Just saying. Okay, next game. Number 11, Kentucky. You heard that correctly. Number 11, Kentucky at number 1, Georgia. Georgia is a 23-point favorite. My God. Battle of two undefeated teams. And let's show, before both of us pick Georgia to win this game, we talk about how their defense is going to shut Kentucky down, because that's where this is headed. Let's show Kentucky some love. We love our man, Mark Stoops.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming off back-to-back wins over Florida and LSU. I mean, that is big time for Kentucky. Some people may only know their quarterback, Will Levis, for eating weird stuff on the internet. If some people may say he put mayonnaise in coffee and drank it. It was really weird. But he also had 5 touchdowns against LSU. And he can run it a little bit. He's tough. Like, he's fun to watch. But Kentucky, this is what they're known for now. They're known for their play along the offensive and defensive lines. Like, they have made a reputation of being tough-ass dudes along the line of scrimmage. And they're putting a bunch of dudes in the league. So just a reminder, Kentucky had more draft picks than OU last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like they don't have any chance. They've got a top 20 defense. Like, they're playing good defensively. Chris Rodriguez is a really good running back. How good, you ask? He's leading the SEC in rushing. Wan'Dale Robinson, he's having a career year at wide receiver for him. That all being said, they're playing the best team in the country in Athens, Georgia. I expect Kentucky, even though I think Chris Rodriguez is a good player, I expect him to struggle running the football against that Georgia defense. I expect them to continue their dominance. We'll see if it's our boy Stetson or JT Daniels. I would go with Stetson Bennett. I like what he brings as an athlete to the position, but they're just going to hand it off to the law firm of running backs. White, I can't even speak. White, Cook, Milton, and what's the last one? McIntosh. Even though I think McIntosh had a hammy last week and didn't play, but whoever plays quarterback will make the necessary throws. Georgia's going to win the game. That's a disrespectful spread to Kentucky, though. Jeez.
It is. It's a different level right now with how well Georgia's playing. They've hit their stride. And Kentucky, ton of respect for them. It is a disrespectful spread, 23 points. My question is, if it is Stetson at quarterback, does he have double-digit throws in the game?
Yes, because I do think, like, Kentucky, dude, they have, I mean, they got a physical football team. Like, they are going to battle at the line of scrimmage with Georgia, and whoever plays quarterback is going to have to throw it around a little bit.
If Stetson Bennett has more than like 12 passes, they don't win that game by 23.
I agree with that. I don't think they're going to win it by 23. They may
'Cause
win it by 21.
if they're up by a big margin, like they will not throw the football at all and not give them a chance at all to stay in the game.
White, Cook, Milton, and McIntosh, the Georgia law firm of running backs. Okay, so normally this part of the pod, we do 3 games at least, right? Those are the obvious 2 on the slate, week 7 of college football. So I picked, I was looking at the other ones, and there's not really any other great games. BYU at Baylor is interesting, but that game lost a lot of sizzle with BYU losing to Boise last week. Ole Miss at Tennessee. Our boy Heupel, he's scoring some points. I mean, maybe that's more interesting. We got Farmageddon, Ted, in Manhattan, Iowa State. Both teams coming off a bye. See what Skylar Thompson looks like health-wise. See what Iowa State's talking about, right? I still think at the end of the season, they're going to be right in the middle of the picture of the Big 12. But how about number 20 Florida at LSU? And I do not really care about either of these teams. I think it is well documented, sir, how you feel about Dan Mullen. People still bring that up to us all the time. But I don't have any interest in talking about Emory Jones. Okay, he's fine at quarterback. You know, he's an athlete. He's fun to watch at times. But I also don't have much interest in talking about Max Johnson and LSU's offense that is not functioning the way that they expected it to function, especially since Keyshawn Butte is out for the year. He was what made me want to watch LSU.
Yep.
But this is interesting because LSU is 3-3, and it's really starting to feel like Ed Orgeron's job is on the line. This is a guy that won a national championship 2 years ago. It's to that point, right?
Yeah. A year and a half ago, really. I mean, they never should have gave him the contract they gave him. I don't feel sorry for LSU at all whenever they have to pay a gargantuan buyout. Everybody knew what was going on there. Everyone knew what the situation was. Happened to pull together the right pieces at the right time. Everyone knew it was going to be a one-off year. You knew that you were going to lose Brady to some other coaching position somewhere. You knew it was going to happen. So when they gave him that huge contract, I knew it was a massive mistake. So, yeah, I honestly don't think he makes it through the year. I don't. But, you know, I didn't expect that he was going to make it much longer anyways. Whenever all the stuff started leaking out, a lot of times you can kind of tell what's going on whenever your own school starts leaking out details of investigations going on around the school. That's usually a pretty good hint. And I'm sure that stuff's going to start popping back up here anytime now. And I don't know, that job's going to be interesting. Whoever takes it, that one thing you can say about LSU, man, it's usually a one shot type of season, but every 3 or 4 years, they're going to put together a squad that's going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah, you look at their next month, Florida, at Ole Miss, at Alabama, and then they host Arkansas. Yikes. I mean, yikes.
Tough.
So
it's going to be tough.
We'll see. But that game's interesting because Coach O he's on a burning hot seat. We'll see.